Hi guys, welcome to Threads Podcast, Life Unfiltered. Thank you so much for joining us today. Sunday, July
26.
6th.
Firing on all cylinders tonight.
Not that that matters, but I'm like, why am I saying the date? And then I just realized that I don't know what the effing date is. So, thanks guys. This is episode 89, I believe. So, and as you know, over the last couple weeks, we've changed a little bit of format. So, hope you guys are enjoying that. Love some feedback from that. But for new listeners, maybe that came from Julian's episode or Amanda's, thank you for joining us. And Ben's going to introduce what Threads is all about, and then we'll kind of get into the episode.
Well, good evening, everybody. Thank you for being here. Threads Podcast, Life Unfiltered, is a chance for Jason and I, two guys who met over podcasting, to get together and talk about real life issues, talk about things that matter, talk about things that maybe are sometimes uncomfortable to address in real life. So we want to, I guess, give an example of what those conversations can be like. And by having them here on our show, our goal is to encourage you, the listener, to have similar conversations in your life. And we would love to hear, what are some of the awkward conversations you've had in the recent weeks? How are you taking what you see here and putting it into practice? That's the kind of feedback we love to hear. So if you have any stories like that, send them to hello@threadspodcast.com. That is our little update on the, that's, I guess, what we do on the show. I guess I'm supposed to hand it over to Jason now.
Okay, sorry, I wasn't jumping in. I didn't know if you were finished, so.
I didn't know if I was done either.
That's okay.
I was trying to pull up the doc to see who was next.
Yeah, you introduced, and I jump into merch and all that. So just real quick, our sponsors are BetterHelp.com. If you go to BetterHelp.com/threads, you get 10% off your first month. It's a great site. Financial aid is available. It's not self-help. It's basically a therapist, a living and breathing therapist you just see digitally. You can message them. You can email them. You don't even have to do face-to-face if you don't want to. So go to Threads, BetterHelp.com/threads for 10% off your first month. Ben's a rookie.
Not my computer.
Sorry. Also, one of our sponsors is Bearded Biz Podcast and Top Rated MMA. Eric Allen is one of the greatest podcasters for MMA, at least in the Northwest, he says, and he's gaining ground. So check that out. He's had some great up-and-coming fighters on there, and also on the Bearded Biz, they talk to business people around the world and just how to make a better business. So you in the show description, you can look for Better Biz and Top Rated MMA to connect with Eric. We'd love your reviews. I think that's in the description too. Might not be, but. And then merch. Okay, so.
Merch.
This is a weird thing, and I'm just going to throw it out because.
We're in a lurch with merch.
I have to do this.
Hey-o!
I know it's for the Rideshare podcast, but that was so good. So we used a company in town, and I'm not going to say their name, but it was affiliated with another podcast and blah, blah, blah. But they decided to apparently stop selling merch, and I found out from the other podcast. Yeah. They never emailed us, and all of a sudden, if we actually took the link off, but if you went to our merch link, it was just a 404, not found.
Cannot locate.
So we are in the process of that. If you are local and know anybody, we'd love to get a bid. Not that we sell a ton of merch, but we would love for you to buy some merch so you can support our show.
Absolutely.
We really don't make much money on it. It's just, hey, I like Threads Podcast, or I like this, just to get the name out.
It's like a walking billboard.
Yeah, a walking billboard. Yes, perfect. So tonight we're just kind of doing we've never figured out what this is. We always say the normal format, but I don't even know. We need to come up with a name. Like
the duo.
The duo?
The dynamic duo.
Okay. So basically, this is our normal episode, and as you know, we changed our format. We're going to focus on 3 buckets, not necessarily all 3 each episode, but we're going to focus on mental health, faith, and things that make us uncomfortable. So tonight, we're going to be talking a little bit about mental health and, of course, things that make us uncomfortable. Ben, let me hear your update.
Yeah.
Tell me about your life.
Let me tell you about my life. Well, I stopped doing the transporting of passengers on rideshare.
Like a long time ago.
Yeah, like when
Like,
COVID started.
right.
And I haven't picked it up. Like, I have had no desire to do that.
Me as well. I have done food delivery, but no people pickup.
Yeah. So that kind of left some open space in my schedule. And one thing that I had been kicking around with my wife was this idea of officiating at wedding ceremonies. I have been ordained since 2006.
This is hilarious, by the way.
Yeah. So it's just been a credential that I've had, and I haven't used it very much since leaving the ministry career path. But now I'm officiating at weddings as a gig, and you can look me up on thumbtack.com, and you can book me to do your wedding ceremony. So
Wait a minute. If you book something off this show, I get a cut. Like, what? This was not talked about pre-show.
Oh, come on. So, yeah, you can book me and I'll do your wedding. And that's just been a really uncomfortable but fun, all kind of lots of feelings mixed into it. Each wedding that I've done so far has honestly been a little bit of a hot mess. Literally because they've been outdoor due to COVID, and figuratively because their families are just interesting.
So when you say outdoor, are they doing the reception outdoor too?
Yes.
Really?
Yep.
Man, you are like rolling the dice for rain.
I know. Well, you can't book any indoor places.
They won't let you?
No, not with COVID.
Man, what a weird time.
So, and I think that's also another reason why people are looking for somebody not connected to a church, because it's got to be a small reception. You can't do it at a church building. It's got to be outside. And it's just this weird thing that we're in right now. So I've been doing that. I have booked, I think, 5 weddings, and I've done 2 of them already. Got another one coming up on Saturday. And the clientele is a lot of, I don't know. It's very interesting. Like, I can't really group them into one category. They each just have their own reason for why they're doing things a little bit differently. And yeah, it's
you think
else.
you're attracting a certain clientele because your price?
Could be.
Yeah.
I don't think that's out of the question. Right now I'm only offering my services on one site, and that site is just kind of known for being the very price-focused site. If I continue my wedding gig, I will most certainly expand my horizons and go to some other places that are a little bit more, have a higher price range for services. But it's been a fun way to start. Met some really crazy, cool people, and I just love sitting back and people watching.
That's the best.
I've never met these people in my life. Like the bride from yesterday, I talked to her on the phone, but I didn't meet her, actually like talk to her person to person until we were like at the quote unquote altar.
Yeah.
And I was doing their ceremony. So that was something. So yeah, it's been a very interesting experience as an introvert, because typically big groups take the life out of me. But what I'm finding is not so much with these weddings.
Okay.
Because I don't have to interact with anybody. I
Yeah.
just kind of show up. I pull out my notebook. I read the ceremony. And then I'm kind of done. So,
but you did bring up before the show that the one awkward part is when to bounce.
Yes.
So you have to work. We talked about like he needs to work on having that conversation as you book it, saying,
Yes.
hey, how long do you want me there? Because you don't want to be there any longer than you have to.
exactly.
I mean, your hourly rate is just ticking down. Now, if they said, hey, we're having prime rib for our reception, we'd love you there, you'd be like, I'm there.
Yeah. Well, one couple said, make sure you stay for pizza. Well, somebody I don't know who it was, somebody in the family was like,
Okay.
stay for the reception, we're having pizza. And I'm thinking, pizza? I can go get my own pizza on the way
Hey,
home.
free pizza. I'm staying. I don't care what anyone says.
Yeah. So, yeah, it's been, one of the things that we talk about often are the new connections we form, and that's definitely been one of them for me. It's given me opportunity to, I guess, have the same type of interaction I would have with a rideshare passenger, but this is just a little bit longer, a little bit more purposeful, but it's kind of the same idea of, I've never met these people, but I'm providing a service for them, and that's kind of cool.
Getting your gig fixed.
Yes, exactly.
All right. Anything else going on? Ben and I don't talk anymore during the week, so I have to actually ask on the
I try to talk to you.
He's such a liar. Don't believe him. If
I've sent a couple of messages.
If your friend, he's been like so weird since COVID. I think a lot of it is because of work.
Yeah.
You talk a lot more when you're in the car, driving to appointments, and you
Yep.
haven't been. So I know, I'm just teasing you.
Yeah. I mean, life's been kind of pretty consistent lately. We feel like we're getting into a good rhythm with our daughter after having some very tough, challenging moments. She's doing really well. It used to be I would go outside to the hammock to get away from her.
Hey, it's okay.
Just being honest.
Hey, kids are assholes sometimes.
Right?
I mean,
but now, like, I consider it a treat if she comes out and wants to lay by me on the hammock. And
it's a huge win.
Oh, yeah. So, doing well overall. Looking forward to our vacation in a couple weeks. We were going to go to Myrtle Beach. That was the plan before COVID. But with COVID, we're just staying a little closer to home and doing a trip through Wisconsin and up through the UP. So,
well, that'll be fun.
Oh, yeah.
Real quick, to go back to the wedding thing, Chris Calcagna wants to get divorced so Ben can remarry us. Looks like Chris Bruinsma, too. It's funny. Megan talked about she struggled with our wedding, a lot of the things surrounding the dress. And Megan has trouble, like, standing up for herself a little bit. And she's worked on it. And she's become an amazing adult at, I think she's 37, 38. I don't know.
Do you think?
Born in 82.
Oh, man.
I always forget. But it's so much better. But what she talked about is, like, it wasn't the dress she wanted. Her hair wasn't like she wanted. Her makeup wasn't, like, she just didn't say anything. So on our 20th, she wants to redo the vows. So plan for that. We're gonna have a big bash. We're gonna, like, redo a reception, and maybe not as extravagant as it was because we're paying for it.
Nice.
So yeah, for me, it's been good. It's been a little interesting. We label these as flub victories, a new connection. I have a bunch of stuff, but one of the flubs I had was with Megan, which usually happens. But we went out to an event with Zane. He had at one of his sponsors at Great Legs Brewery and Winery, or Winery and Brewery. I don't know.
Great Legs?
Legs. So apparently wine, if you can Google it, I don't know. When you pour a glass of wine, if it's really good, it has good legs.
Oh.
So whatever that means is I don't even know. But
wow. I thought maybe you were mispronouncing lakes or something.
Yeah, I know. And Zane's actually, when he talks about him, like, twice in the last month, he said lakes.
Great Legs.
Yeah, so it was a great place. Well, initially I thought it was outside. So Megan is a little we're not on the same page as far as anxiousness for COVID.
Sure.
While I am taking precautions, I'm not as anxious about it, and she is, and that's okay. I don't judge anyone for what they feel about COVID. And so we pull up, and it's inside. So I'm like, right before we get in, I'm like, are you cool with this? Yeah. Okay. And as we're walking in, I can see it in her eyes. I'm like, okay, this isn't cool. And then we get up, we're ordering drinks, and it is inside. And and I asked one more time. I'm like, are you cool? We can bounce.
Right.
Like, I'm fine with it. She said no. And so basically, I felt a little awkward, and it ended up being fine. But later on, we talked about how I could have had more check-ins with her throughout to see if it was okay. And I'm the kind of person where if you say you're okay, I trust that you're telling me the truth. Doesn't mean that I can't change throughout the night, but for me it got better because I was a little anxious too, and they had masks on, but people weren't staying 6 feet away. And at that point, like after an hour in, I'm like, F it. Like Zane was talking to me right across the table, Diana, and we had a good time, like good conversations, but people were like hugging and like, I was just like, and that's okay. Like if that's what you do, it's fine. I still was a little uncomfortable. I wish it would have been outside.
Yeah.
So.
Huh.
But that's one thing I need to work on with Megan is more check-ins if I notice that she's anxious.
Well, you did check in at the beginning, though.
I did, but, you know, I kind of told her and it kind of hurt her heart because, you know, me, I'm Mr. Blunt. I'm like, yeah, it kind of ruined it for me.
Ooh.
You know, and she got all tearful. And I'm like, well, not ruined it, but I'm like, it made me anxious until the end, if that makes sense. And so that was, yeah, I said a couple of, like not wrong things, but just maybe
not the best things.
Not the best things. Could have sugarcoated them a little bit. So,
yes.
One of the things, victory for me, and a little victory is I started meditation. I was going to do it every day religiously. I went 4 days in a row, and then I missed a couple of days, and so
that's pretty good.
I went 4, and then I've missed 3. This is the weekends and stuff, but I know I've talked about it before, and I keep saying I'm going to do it, and so I'm hoping to try to do it during the week. Like maybe Monday through Friday, but it's been nice. I've been feeling, I don't know, not restful, but just more thoughtful or
at peace.
Yeah, I think what meditation does for me is slows my brain down a little bit,
Sure.
so I don't say stupid shit. So
yeah, there's probably a lot of truth to that.
Yeah, I don't even know what like the definition of, or what meditation is supposed to do. Like at peace, like okay, whatever. Like. Ooh. You know, like I guess I don't buy into that stuff.
Centered,
yeah. And then a meaningful thing that's happened. It's kind of a bummer. It's my dad is just. It's weird, right? So when a spouse passes away or is not there, the real personality of the person kind of comes out.
Sure.
So. Because like you and Andy are a pair, me and Megan are a pair. So if one of them goes away, then there's no one to buffer or whatever. So my mom is in assisted living, and pretty much, you know, there's really no conversation with her or anything. She's pretty far gone in the Alzheimer's and dementia. But it's just noticing my dad, lack of like communicating with us.
Sure.
Just not being. We realized that my mom was the facilitator of all that.
Interesting.
And so now that she's gone, he doesn't like check in much, and he posts a lot on Facebook.
Is he a conspiracy theorist?
No.
Okay.
He posts a lot of his life stuff on Facebook, so I find out a lot of stuff on Facebook, which is kind of annoying to me, but I've kind of accepted it.
Sure.
But what was really tough is we had Sully's birthday party over there, and he posts like everything about his life and what's going on.
Yeah.
And didn't post anything about that. And I was just like,
that's a little odd.
Oh man, like these are your grandkids.
Right. You get one shot at this.
You get one shot. Well, you kind of get 2 shots. Excuse me. You get a shot to be a parent.
Mm-hmm.
And he effed that one up. And you get a shot as a grandparent.
Yep.
And he's effing that one up. Now, I'm not saying he's a bad grandpa, like when he's around the kids.
Right.
It's an issue, but
it just sounds like it's a lack of intentionality on his part.
Yeah, and it kind of hurts my heart. Like,
Yeah.
if Nolte had grandkids right now, I'd be like, every weekend, like, hey, you want to come over?
Right.
I want to see.
Initiate it.
Yeah, I want to do that. And I know it seems weird, like I'm throwing my dad under the bus, but it's nothing I wouldn't say to his face.
Sure.
And I haven't talked to him about it. Like right now, he's trying to quit smoking. So he's going a little bananas. So now is not the good time to talk about that. But
no kidding.
So that's kind of the thing I've been struggling with a little bit. I've never really had that big dad feature in my life. And I would hope that, I mean, especially if you're missing your wife, that you would want to be with your grandkids.
Right.
Like, oh, fill this void, fill this void, fill this void. Well, I think he filled it with cigarettes. And so it's okay. I mean, it's fine if you want to smoke. I don't judge anybody. I'm like, whatever. I mean, I eat like shit too. So whatever. But so that is what's going on in my life right now. You have any feedback on that?
Wade is asking if your dad's watching.
No, he's
Nice.
not watching.
Yeah. No, I would say I guess I can relate to that. My dad is also one who posts often on Facebook.
Does he?
Very politically motivated posts, which I don't know. I have a hard time with them. He just had ankle surgery, so he'll be off his feet for a while. So I'm expecting to see an influx of posts. But
by the way, you post a lot on Facebook too.
Well, fine. I don't care.
You've been quiet for a while, but
but yeah, just the intentionality piece. Like it's hard when like the only time, I don't want to say only, that's not right. Sometimes it just feels like we have to initiate for our grandkids to be connected with them.
So we're kind of in the same boat.
Yeah.
See, we're not doing any initiating. I'm just like,
You're
whatever.
just letting it be what it is.
But then I feel a little guilty with my kids. Like, should I be doing that?
Yeah. I don't know. Oh, Kate says it's okay to be Facebook posty.
Yeah, we know Kate.
So yes, I love my parents, and I'm thankful for the role they play in my kids' life, because it's awesome. They are incredible grandparents. It's just there are some times where I feel like, okay, it would really go a long way if you would just check in and see if, hey, does Stefan want to come over, or whatever. And that's not to say that they haven't ever done that. It's just lately it feels like that's just kind of not the focus, and we're the ones that have to initiate it.
Yeah, let's hope, as we're, like I was abused as a kid and I didn't abuse my kids. Let's hope you and I both can break that cycle when we have grandkids. We're going to be like, not annoying.
Right.
You can't be annoying.
We don't want to be a helicopter grandparent.
Well, like my mom was annoying with it.
Huh.
You know what I mean? And it caused a lot of issues, where my dad's like nothing. So it would be, I'm hoping that I can be like, hey, I really want to see such and such. Let me know when I can see them.
Yeah.
And leave it up to them. And hopefully they say, yeah, let's just do this.
Yeah. And with my parents too, I think part of the issue is just, it's hard for me to accept that their physical health is slowly starting to decline. Like my dad has had a knee replaced, and he just had his ankle fused together. So maybe some of the issue is physically they're just not in a good place to really initiate much. So
yeah, Avery and I talked about that today. She's like, man, I don't know how we got on the topic about getting old and dying, and talking about going to heaven and those kind of things.
Yeah.
And any opportunity I can, if they bring that up, I'm like, yep, we got to believe in Jesus, and you believe in God, you'll go to heaven. And then she's like, oh, I don't want to die. I'm like, I don't want to die either. And she goes, oh, I don't want to get old either, because you can't do anything. And I was like, well, listen, like, even though Grammy, that we called her Grammy, my mom, brain is a little messed up. Her body, like, I think that's why she's still alive, because she walked 3 or 4 miles every day. And you can be an old person and still be active. You just got to keep walking. Got to keep moving.
Keep moving.
Keep moving.
For sure. Well, it doesn't help that my dad has worked the same job essentially ever since he was 18. And it's a very manual labor intensive type of job.
Oh, yeah? What is it?
He works in the shipping and receiving line at Herman Miller. So he's on a high-low all day loading.
That's what my dad did.
Trucks. Really?
High-low.
Huh.
Yeah. Messed him up a little bit, hopping on and off all the time.
So his knees are wearing out, his ankles worn out, and
well, if he's been there since he's 18, like, it's time. Like, he's got to have, like, what, 40 years in there or something?
Yeah.
I mean, it's
close
40,
to 40.
So that'd make him 68, right?
No, that would be 58. 40 plus 18.
Oh yeah, sorry. We know math. Hey, I
Jason.
went to private school.
Nice.
So how old is he?
He's in his early 60s, I believe.
Okay, so over 40 years.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm trying to figure out how old my dad is.
I know, isn't that terrible? I don't know how my dad. I think my dad's like either 69 or 70. I can't remember. I know my mother-in-law's 71, but yeah, math is hard. Wade. 61. Yeah. Okay, so he's been there for a hot second. I'd be like, yeah, peace out. I'm done. I already told Megan I'm only working till 60, and that's 16 years away. So
43 years. That's crazy.
No way, man. I mean, I like my job, but you know, especially with physical like me too. I'm bouncing on that machine.
Yeah.
Thank God I don't do it all year round. So, all right, we've been tangenting like crazy. That's
Math
okay.
is hard. You're right, Wade. I agree. All right. Well, with that tangent, we'll shift gears a little bit and get into our buckets. As Jason mentioned at the start of the show, we really try to focus our conversations around these three topics that we feel like need to be discussed more, and we try to create space for them on our show because we feel like these buckets are important to us as individuals and also in our families, and we want to make sure that we're giving ear to those areas, even if it's tough to do. So the three buckets that we have are mental health, faith, and things that make us uncomfortable. If you've listened to the past two shows, you'll know that we've been pretty heavy on the faith side of things. And that makes my heart happy because faith has always been a big part of my life. And even
What are you saying about me?
I'm saying you didn't go to school for it and didn't serve in full-time ministry for 6 years. And, you know, it's okay.
Yeah, okay.
I'm just saying you're a heathen. Not really.
Rude.
I know. So we're going to skip the faith bucket, but we will jump into mental health. And this is a follow-up on something that our guest Amanda brought up last week on the show. Amanda is a therapist, and she also went to Cornerstone University with me back in the day. So it was really cool to sit down and catch up with an old college friend and, you know, see the growth that's taken place in her life and all of that good stuff. One of the things she mentioned was unhelpful thought patterns. And those are the things that the thinking styles or the ruts we get into in our thought life that tend to get us stuck, and they just don't help us very much. I read through some of these and I was like, dang, yep, I know exactly what that feels like. So there's probably 10 or 15 of them, but I just picked out 3 that really stood out to me. And I just wanted to give space to talk about these because I can't be alone in getting stuck in these thought patterns. And so I think by giving a voice to them, it's an opportunity to maybe lessen the power they have over us and talk about them and just acknowledge that, yeah, maybe we do have a hard time managing our thoughts. And it's hard to grow or move forward in life if you don't acknowledge the struggles that are there. If you just pretend that they're not there or you just ignore them, they don't go away on their own. You got to point them out and deal with them. So perhaps you may be struggling with some of these, but the 3 that I picked as being meaningful to me are all or nothing thinking, catastrophizing, and should statements. All or nothing thinking is when you place people or situation into either or categories. There's no middle ground. For example, if I'm not perfect, I have failed. Or if I didn't reach 100 listens on that episode, then the entire podcast is ruined. Do you ever find yourself with all or nothing thinking?
Yeah, I feel like I'm a little bit of a perfectionist when it comes to a lot of things. And it's hard for me to, I wouldn't say it's all or nothing, but I will beat myself up about, you know, something. So I don't know if it was the last episode I edited. I was struggling with something, and I waited till the last night to edit it, so I didn't think about it. Because normally that drives me bonkers, where you work better under pressure.
Yes.
I probably would have edited. That's such a hard word to say without sounding like you're drunk. I probably would have done it like Monday or Tuesday, but I can't remember what it was. But yeah, I think I beat myself up. I wouldn't say it's a failure, so I don't think I do an all or nothing, but I think I am a all meaning perfectionist.
Yes.
And maybe not nothing. I don't know what other word I can replace with that, but what about you?
Oh yeah, I tend to be an all or nothing kind of guy. Maybe more so in how I do things. Like I'm either all the way committed to something, and I think you've probably seen this, like I'm gung-ho, 100% committed, focused, gonna get it done, or nothing, and I just don't care, and like things just don't get done.
So I'm pretty sure I may have brought it up on the show, but even Megan knows the joke. When Ben is like messaging me and like doing stuff, I drop everything in my life. I get him whatever he wants. 3 o'clock in the morning, I'll go down and send you the file. Like, and it's not a cut against you, but when you get rolling on something, I'm like, okay, let's let the truck roll. Let's give him everything he needs. If he has a question, I'm going to answer it. So yeah, I can see that from you.
Yeah. So I don't know if it's necessarily all or nothing thinking. It's more all or nothing doing. But I think there are some flawed thinking patterns behind that. I'm not sure what they are, but I'll talk with my therapist and get back to you about that. The second one is catastrophizing, magnifying small negative incidents or minimizing positive events. Now I'm going to lose my job, go bankrupt, and end up homeless because my boss said this critical comment about me.
100% for me.
Yep. I was just going to say, you are a catastrophizer.
I mean, I'm not going to end up homeless, but I just say, this is the worst. What are we going to do? And I have to bring myself back and be like, nope, it's okay.
Yeah.
Take a deep breath. But yeah, I'm definitely, like, I feel like you picked all the things that I do.
No.
I don't think you are.
I'm not.
No.
Not usually.
No, not at all.
I try to be an optimist, but I've had moments where I felt, like a catastrophe was happening. But this one, let's see, where was going to go with this? I had something, and then you said something. And
I was like, I thought you said I deleted something.
No,
I think these are such extremes. I can't believe someone would be 100% like this on everything. Like, I stubbed my toe, I'm gonna be homeless. I mean, they may have some mental health issues
like that, but
right. I don't know. It just, like, when you read the example, now I'm going to lose my job or go bankrupt and homeless or end up homeless, those are pretty extreme.
Yes, for sure. So I would say I live in a family with a couple of catastrophizers, where small things tend to be blown up into big things. And I won't say who, but
good call.
Y'all can guess.
Good call.
So, but yeah, I would say you tend to be a catastrophizer. Like, we've had certain episodes on the podcast where we finish recording and you're just like, that was a disaster, dumpster fire. And then we put it up on the air and they turn out to be some of the better listened to episodes as far as numbers go.
Yeah, I think what happens to me is when I'm recording it, I just feel it hasn't gone as well as the other ones,
sure.
And I'm feeling uncomfortable. I'm, you and I talking, even if we didn't have anything here, we probably could fill hours of stuff. It might not be all coherent, but
right.
But yeah, sometimes those episodes, it's just like I'm scrambling. I'm like, I feel like you're gonna like come to me and I don't have anything, and I'm like, and then the person is like sitting, we're interviewing them. It's just like, hey, but you're right. I will be like, this was a shit show. Let's just dump it.
Yep. So it happens. This next one is one that I picked because I find myself falling into this very often. The should statements. Using words like should or must. I'm going to take out must. I don't really say must ever, but using words like should to enforce ideas or rules for behavior. Like as I'm reflecting, I tend to do it a lot with my therapist, of course, but
I can see that.
Like, I should have done it this way, and he'll catch me. He like, should? Who said that? Who's putting that pressure on you? Don't should yourself. And so it's just, anytime I feel tempted to use that word should, it's like I'm putting this unspoken pressure on myself that I should have known better, or that I'm not enough, like I'm lacking in something. And because I'm lacking in that, that's why it failed. When really, maybe the situation that whatever occurred, maybe it didn't have anything to do with what I did or didn't do. Maybe it was something on the other person's end that caused it to go off the wire. But as I reflect on things, I always catch myself using that word should or should have not. And so Andy and I have a phrase that we use with each other. Don't should on me. And usually we say it to ourselves, but yeah, there's just such a, that word has so much power to just deflate and take away any sense of power you have in a situation. Like, I should have done, it's just such a mopey Eeyore word.
So a couple of things about that. Saying that to your spouse, you should have done something, is triggering. I mean,
Right?
I don't care who you are. That's just going to piss the other person off.
Right?
But I also, in the back of my head, I think it's good. I think that word should is good because I should have cleaned the house. Like, right. If
Maybe
you,
it
if you,
can be good.
Yeah, I
but-
think it can be good because if you haven't, Megan actually had kind of this thing happen Friday. She took a day off for herself, like a vacation day.
Nice.
And she didn't say it, but she probably in the back of her head, she said, I should be doing something. And then she'd be like, no, I took this day for me. I'm not cleaning the house. I'm not doing things. But I also think that it can be beneficial if used appropriately.
Yeah.
If you continue to say, I should have done this, I should have done this, I should have done this, and meaning, chores, it's one thing. But
Sure.
if I should have been I guess more emotional stuff, maybe that's where it becomes an issue. But I think it can be beneficial at sometimes. Just don't say it to your spouse. If anyone's listening, that's a guy, gal too. But like, don't do it.
Yeah.
You're gonna
Danger.
It's gonna be a huge danger zone.
Yeah.
Joe Pellerito said, "Shouldn't I be on Call of Duty right now?" Yeah, I probably should. You're 100% right.
Nice.
This podcast is getting in the way.
Priorities, man.
Right.
Um,
Anything more on that?
yeah, I just pulled up something from, I Googled it. So I'm at
Should.com.
Elephant Journal. I don't know what that is, but it's got some good thoughts on this issue. It says the next time that we catch ourselves using the word should, let's check in to see if we could replace should with want or need. If we can't, then let's take a moment to think about why this thing that we don't want or need is something that we have declared that we should. So if you can't put I should clean the house. Okay. Do I want to clean the house? No. Do I need to clean the house? Yes, it's a pigsty. Okay, probably a good use of the word should.
Yeah.
But so I think that's really good. Just checking with yourself.
It's so hard to do that. My therapist talks about that like the check-ins. It's so hard to do that for me.
Really?
I don't know. Like I can't. I think the meditation is to help me do those check-ins because it slows my roll down a little bit. So I have the opportunity. I just jump so fast to the whatever it is. It's like right there. Like I don't have that. I need like 1.5 seconds, and then I might be able to check in. But if I don't get that, I'm like right to the extreme.
Well, what about every time you get in your car or your work truck? Just take a quick check-in. I don't know.
Well, I mean, I'm talking in regards to like the should.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I do check-ins, but isn't it weird? My therapist said just do a quick check-in with yourself.
Yeah.
I think it's weird.
I think it's weird, but also valuable. Just like meditation. Meditation feels weird when you first start doing it.
But I feel like with meditation, I have an app that tells me the streak I'm on. So I feel it's beneficial. But like checking in before when I get in my work truck, just sitting there, I feel like I'm wasting time, which it's not. But you know me, I'm always like, it's hard for me to sit still and not do something. And so that
there's an app you could use.
For what?
For a check-in.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure there's an app for everything.
There is. But my friend Benjamin, who's a therapist in Grand Rapids, I went to college with him as well. But he developed an app for checking in.
Oh, yeah?
Like, checking your mood, checking your, like, how are you doing? Like, just to help center you. And it's really cool.
What's it called? You don't know?
Metafy.
Metafy?
Yeah, METAFI. So it's pretty sweet.
It's always cool. I feel like there's probably a lot of apps developed in our city, but I always feel loyalty to something that gets developed in your area or someone that you know.
Yeah. So anyway, those are just 3 of the unhelpful thought patterns. When Megan brought that, not Megan, it was Amanda, not Megan. Gosh. Amanda brought those up on the show last week, and It was just super helpful. I pulled up that list, and it's just good to check in with yourself, see how you're doing, how's your thought life. What are the things that you're maybe giving too much focus to, and all that good stuff. So we'll put a link in social media sometime this week, I would imagine, and you can look up all the rest of them that we didn't cover here.
Yeah, good one. Oh yeah, it's my transition. Son of a bitch. Hi. So another bucket that we talk about is uncomfortable conversations, and one of the discussions that came up for Ben and I recently was around a friend that his son was taking on vacation, which hasn't happened yet, but they're going to. And basically, it's a kid that, well, why don't you explain it? I think it's a little better so I don't mess it up.
No, that's okay. So my son has this knack for, I guess, forming friendships with kids from rough places. I don't know if it's connected to the fact that Stefan was adopted. I'm not sure. But he just tends to gravitate towards kids that perhaps come from a single parent home or come from a home where there's not much structure in place. And so a lot of times we as parents, Andy and I, find ourselves in this weird spot of how do we protect our kids from influences that may not be beneficial, while at the same time helping our son to be like a light in the darkness for his friends. And it's a tough balance. And there have been things that we've said, no, Stefan, you cannot go do that with this friend because there's no supervision, or because we just don't think that's a wise and smart place to put yourself. So we've had to say no to, in his mind, a lot of things, and maybe it is, I don't know. But recently we told Stefan, you can bring a friend, and we're hoping in the back of our mind that that friend is, he's got like 2 or 3 solid, I guess, friends that come from solid families, and we're hoping, praying that he invites one of them. One of them has band camp, another one has a family thing, and then that leaves the other friends. And so he's like, can I bring this one friend? And I said, no. That was my immediate reaction. It was like, nope, sorry. But then Andy and I talked about it, and we were just like, maybe this is a prime opportunity for us to have some quality time with this kid and show him what stability looks like. And yeah, he's made some pretty rough choices in the past, but haven't we all? And the thing I keep going back to is, if I was in this kid's shoes, growing up in the environment that he's had to grow up in, would I have done any better? I don't think I would have.
Yeah. So
I feel like it's an opportunity for us as a family for a week to give this kid a taste of normalcy, whatever. I don't know if that's the right word, but just a taste of a healthy family.
Yeah.
So
I just want to clarify before we continue that, you brought up a single parent home. That doesn't mean that's a rough home.
No.
Just the upbringing is rough.
Yes.
Not being a single parent. I can just see people getting pissed about that.
Right.
So
right. I'm not trying to say that kids from single parent homes are nasty kids.
Statistically, they struggle.
Yeah.
Especially if it's the mom at home and it's the mom's doing whatever she can. Kids need a male. They need a male role model.
Absolutely.
And even if it's not a dad at home, they need someone to bond with.
For sure.
But so the discussion came up, and I said to Ben, this is the uncomfortable part, is like, I was like, why are you taking that kid? Like, that's going to ruin your vacation. And then, what Ben said, maybe it's a light for him. And I just kind of went round and round. I'm like, maybe I'm a piece of crap, but I'm selfish. I want to take a vacation with my family and protect my kids. And I don't know what resolution we ever came of it. I think we just dropped it.
I think we agreed to disagree.
I think I said you're a better person than I am. And I totally get what you're trying to do, but I think you kind of thrive on that. I want to help. Well, It makes sense because you've adopted kids, so
Mhm.
that's kind of the same thing. I want to help, and there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
I'm not being negative about it,
no,
but
no.
but I do think you get a little bit of a rush out of saviorism. Saviorism? Did I just make up a word?
Maybe.
Like being the savior, like going in and saying, I'm going to make this kid better. Or I'm going to, maybe you're not saying that, but provide this kid with some sort of stability for a week. But I look at it as like, man, vacations are stressful. I know that sounds stupid, but I've yet to be on a vacation other than when Megan and I went to Mexico by ourselves.
I'm sure
where
it
it
was
was
amazing.
Yeah, it was with that didn't have some stress attached to it. And
Yeah.
maybe that's just me.
I don't know. Well, and I think too, one thing that I think you helped me balance is sometimes it's okay, and not only is it okay, sometimes it's needed to focus on me and us and our family. And there's nothing selfish about that. So I
No.
think there are times where that's been super helpful. But in this instance, I don't know. Andy and I just can't get past just feels like something we're supposed to do.
I feel like I'm falling into like the all or nothing, or I don't know, one of those.
Yeah.
When I say, because I can just see something happening and ruin the whole trip.
Sure.
Like, and then you're stuck with him.
Right.
I mean, it's not like it's 20 minutes away. Like he's stuck with you for
Yeah.
that entire week.
Yeah. You can't just leave him behind or whatever.
Yeah, and I don't feel guilty saying that I would say no. Megan is so funny when we talk about parenting stuff, and I'll be like, no, tough shit. They're not getting or whatever it is. She's like, well, I'm like, no. She goes, you don't feel bad? I go, no. They screwed up. They
Right.
broke the rules.
Yeah.
Not that I'm not a softie sometimes, because I am.
Sure.
But sometimes I'm just like, this is what it is. I don't want it, and
Yeah. Fair enough.
tough crap.
Yeah. Well, going back to, you brought up the unhelpful thinking. We definitely had a moment like that today. As I said a few minutes ago, Miracle, by and large, has been doing incredible.
Yeah.
She had a rough moment today. And with that rough moment, I found myself thinking, why on earth are we even going to go on vacation? It's just going to be a horrible experience. I was catastrophizing. Just taking that small negative mishap and magnifying it into this whole, because she had a rough morning, it's going to be a hellish vacation. So I had to correct myself there too. So yeah. One thing that Jason and I both have been wrestling with is the news outlets on Facebook, and also some people on Facebook, let's be honest, that we've had to snooze or kind of tune out from. Can you say a little bit more about your experience?
Yeah, I've basically snoozed all the news. Like, I don't get my news. I don't have regular TV. I haven't watched it in years. So I get all my news from Facebook.
Yeah.
And I know fake news, right, everybody? But, I mean, you got to, whatever. So I follow them all, though. I like
Okay.
ZZM, Fox, Wood, not CBS, because I don't know.
Yeah.
I've never followed them, but excuse me. We shouldn't drink pop.
Right?
We're the worst.
Well.
So I snoozed them all for 30 days. So I don't know if anyone knows this. This may be today. I learned starting today that when you have somebody that is bothering you on Facebook, meaning you don't like what they're saying, you can click into them. I think it's 3 little dots, like if it's their post, and snooze for 30
Yep.
days. Or
Yeah.
you can unfollow them and not unfriend them, which is Ben's dream for being an introvert. But you can do that. You can snooze them for 30 days if you're just like, I am just tired of seeing your post.
Yeah.
I need a break.
Yep.
And you can do that for anyone. And so I did that for all the news sources. And it's a little weird, though, because all I see is like podcasting, gig work, podcasting, Ben, gig work, Kate, gig work, podcasting, Kate.
Don't forget your dad in there.
Oh, dad.
Right.
So, yeah, that's funny you bring that up, because I haven't snoozed my dad.
You haven't.
Well, here's the thing. Like, that's how I'm finding out what the hell's going on.
I know.
You know what I mean?
I've snoozed my dad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just one of those things. So, well, it's been a little weird. It's been kind of nice. I am missing the COVID stats because I kind of want to see where they trend. But that was the problem, was all the masks,
Right.
fighting, and all that other stuff.
Yep.
So if you guys want a breath of fresh air, Please snooze people.
Snooze the news.
Yeah, either that or people that are being idiots,
Yes.
according to you. Not saying they're idiots, but they might be. Just snooze them for
Yeah.
30 days.
Yeah.
And it sounds like a long time, but it's not. And then all of a sudden they'll show back up and be
If
like,
you still need a break, you can snooze them again.
Yeah, so that's been really beneficial for me. Again, it's weird at first, but I think it's super important to kind of break away from the news media a little bit.
Yes.
I can't imagine sitting in front of the news
Ugh.
and watching the news.
Right?
Like one of the reasons I stopped doing that is A, we didn't have it, but B, I couldn't choose the stories I wanted to look at.
Oh yeah.
So on Facebook, if a title is like, "Oh, I want to look at this," you have to click on
Right.
it and read it. It's
Yep.
not just in your face.
Yes.
So, what else? Oh, and then the other thing I wanted to talk about, uncomfortable, is this Portland.
Yeah.
Is it Portland, Oregon?
Oregon.
I am such a
Oregon.
Oregon shit show of
Mhm.
the riot. So I'm gonna try to do the best I can, a little bit explaining it. I didn't research it a ton, so take it with a grain of salt. But obviously, this stems from the George Floyd incident, where I don't hear anything going on with that anymore. Have you? Like,
It's sporadic. Well, actually, just yesterday, a Jenison high school student put
Saw it.
together a student-led
I saw that.
peaceful protest.
It's much more light in the news.
Yes.
And so what Portland has originally, they created this, they try to create their own country.
That was in Seattle.
Was it?
Yes.
Oh, I'm getting messed up.
Yes.
Are you sure?
Positive.
Okay, in Seattle.
Yes, it was Seattle.
Okay. Well, either way, there's a lot going on.
There
I
is.
thought, I'm sorry, I totally effed that up. But it's funny, when I was researching Portland, I didn't see anything about that. I'm like, maybe it's so far down the news cycle. But anyways, there's still a lot of stuff going on.
Yes.
And I thought this was all going on in Portland, but now the feds are involved. And well, I think it's still good that they're creating a voice, but are they? Like,
Yeah.
what are they doing that's beneficial? Like,
yeah. Well, here's the thing. The protesters that are peaceful, it's just like what happened in Grand Rapids. Like, peaceful protests show up, they make their peace known in a peaceful way, and they move on. But what's been happening in Portland is just as the peaceful protests are starting to wrap up, you've got these instigators that show up, whether they're with a movement or not. Maybe they just like to cause trouble, or they just hate the police. They tend to stir the pot. And because of that happening, our president felt it was necessary to send in basically a federal police force.
yeah.
So you put, is it right or wrong?
Well,
I don't know.
what I put for right or wrong, I'm saying, is it right or wrong to continue the rioting?
Yes. Yeah.
I'm a passionate person, so the peaceful protests seem like a waste of time. People are probably going to hate me for that statement. I like I don't like violence, but I don't mind, pushing up against the cops a little bit. Like, hey, this is like, that's the only way you're going to draw attention.
Right.
I didn't even know about the one in Jenison, although I probably would if I was watching the news. But,
Yes, exactly.
But my point is, sometimes you got to ruffle some feathers.
Yeah.
But when people are starting to get hurt, and this has been going on for so long, I think it needs to stop. Now, my question to you: are you okay with with Trump sending in federal agents?
No.
See, I 100% agree.
I am not okay with that.
I'm okay with it. It's time to clean this shit up. That's how I look at it. It's time. Like, okay, your point has been made.
Yeah.
We're gonna move forward. But what are you doing? What is the benefit if you, for days and weeks of protesting? What is it? What are you actually doing?
True. However, the peaceful protesters are now also being targeted by these federal agents, and there's video documentation of it. So yeah, if you need to clean out the garbage, nobody's garbage. But
See
if you
here-
need to clean out the people that are stirring the pot intentionally, yes.
But
bring
how do you
in-
do that? If you're on the street and it's been going on for 2 weeks and you're only seeing snippets, you don't know if that person was peaceful. You don't know.
You don't know if they weren't peaceful.
100%. You're right.
You know?
But how long is it going to go on? If this is going on on Plainfield between Huntsberger and Jupiter by you
Mhm.
all the time, all hours of the night, would you want it to stop?
Yes, but I think there's other ways that it can be managed.
How?
I don't know, but I don't think.
No,
bringing
you
in-
can't say that. You can't say I don't know. You have to say, because if you don't like the way it's going, then you have to give a solution.
I don't have a solution.
Okay, so Trump has a solution. He's going to send in agents. He's going to clean it up, and everyone's going to get back to life.
It's just the legality of it, though. Like you're
That's-
sending in armed people to take out your own citizens.
Right, but where do you draw the line? I mean, I'm not pro-government. I'm pro everyone being able to do their own stuff.
Right.
But where do you draw the line of, like, stopping it?
Yeah.
I mean, when they start shooting somebody? I mean, meaning the protesters. When
Yes.
somebody dies? When is it okay for the federal government to come in and say, this has got to stop, guys. We need to move on? When is that okay?
I don't know. I don't have a good answer.
Well, see, that's the thing. You can't say you're totally against it, but then you don't have a solution of.
I can be against something without having a solution.
Yeah, but then you're not helping anything. You're just like, I mean,
Are you helping anything by being supportive of it? I mean, it's the same thing.
no, but I want it cleaned up. I want
Sure.
those people's lives to go back to normal. Everyone needs to get back to work.
Mhm.
Like, I understand it. Like, use your resources of protesting in a better way. Like,
Sure.
connecting with your community, connecting with your black brother or your Indian brother or your Asian brother or whatever. Connect doing that. Standing outside for weeks on end, yelling at the cops, it's enough already.
Yeah. I see where you're coming from. I don't have much to say. Why is Siri listening to me?
What?
I didn't say anything. Siri just turned on randomly.
We must have whatever we said every once in a while.
That was weird.
I respect that you don't like it, and I'm just having this.
I guess my issue is with the manner in which the force is being deployed. It's above the law, and
Well, what's the? I guess I'm out of my league with the law part of it.
just detaining people, it's just very odd. Like, and when this first started happening, the feds were just grabbing random protesters and taking them in vans and driving them away.
Yeah,
Like-
they're not doing anything with them. They're trying to break up the momentum of the march, and if that means they see someone that's a little more boisterous, they're just scooping them up. I get it. Like you're
Well,
looking.
what does that say about that person's rights, though? You're
I know.
infringing on them.
I get that a little bit because that would bother me
So,
too. Because
it's
if
like,
if a cop came up to me and just threw me in a van, I would sue.
without even any identification. Like at first when it was happening, there was no identification.
Right.
Like, they didn't know who these people were, and then it came out that they're government affiliated.
Yeah.
So I just think the way they're doing it is shady.
Yeah, I don't know. I totally agree with you. I don't know how they do it either. Whether they just infiltrate as plainclothes and try to just. But again, what do you? That's the weird thing, right? Because it's, as far as I know, it's not been that violent. So, I don't know what to do either.
Yeah.
I mean, at least
Play
Trump's.
a super loud whistling noise on the air, and everybody will just leave.
Yeah,
Like, do something like that
Annoying.
doesn't involve.
throwing people in the.
Yeah. I mean, there's other ways to do things.
Yeah, they got the tear gas and they're out there with blowers blowing the tear gas back, and I'm like,
Yeah.
what are we doing here? Like, I just want to hug them all and say, okay, you got all this momentum. Like, all right, let's do something
Yeah.
with it. They're just standing there and yelling, and again, 100% they're right. I get it, and I don't know how you disperse it, but if I would lived in that area, and I'd be like, come on already. I
Yeah.
don't know. It sounds like I'm being like.
Get off my lawn.
I'm pretty much like, just stop being a bitch. Like, do something then.
Yeah.
Like it really isn't going on anywhere else. I feel like it's just this momentum, and people that are coming there are just like anti-government people.
I would say it is happening elsewhere, like Eugene, Oregon.
Maybe not at the.
It's definitely limited. It seems like to the Pacific Northwest, which is historically a very liberal area.
Yes,
and like back when the Occupy movements were happening.
Yeah.
The Portland Occupy movement went on and on.
Which is funny because I would guess there's not, as far as the African Americans, there's probably a low.
There's not many.
I know. That's what I'm saying. So it's kind of hilarious to me. Not that white people can't support that, but it's just like, okay, I don't know.
And again, so many of the people causing trouble and the people that attracted the attention of the federal agents are the ones that are just stirring the pot, that just don't like government, and they're ruining it for everybody.
But that's my point. So what are you supposed to do to get those anti-government people out? Like, how do you determine this is an actual person talking about rights, or this is a government, or this is an anti-government person?
I don't know.
I like the sound thing that you did. Someone like dogs hate that loud noise. Like,
just put something on a loudspeaker.
But then it's like, but then you affect the people living around there. Like they all of a sudden they got to listen to it.
Well, it'll be brief, and you can give them a heads up. I don't know.
Yeah, but then they're just gonna put earplugs in.
I don't know. I don't have the answer.
So I don't either. But it's definitely one of those things where, yeah, we're not gonna talk politics. Maybe for another show. But all right. I think we're done with uncomfortable. Yeah. That was pretty uncomfortable.
I think so. That's all right, though. It's good to get
it's good. It's good. We're not going to fix the world, but it's a good discussion about what we need to do. Like I said, I'm all for speaking your voice, but at some point, I mean, I don't know when you stop it. You know, it's not happening.
Law and order.
Yeah, I'm like, okay, like do something about it. And I hope if they are doing something, I hope whoever listens to this and knows that, send it to me.
Right.
Educate me.
Yeah.
Like, I'm fine and I will have a conversation with you, but right now I'm like, stop your shit and go back to work.
Right.
Okay. Amen and amen.
Nice. Well, we are going to wrap up the show with an Ask Me Anything, and my question is somewhat related to this. Might be a little uncomfortable. It's a little bit political. Not really.
I honestly want these AMAs to be like whatever.
Yeah.
Like it can be complete bullshit. It doesn't have to be uncomfortable or anything. I feel like these AMAs don't need to fill a bucket.
No, they don't.
Okay.
But I think this one just is connected. My question for you, Jason, is in your years as a voting American citizen, have you ever just not voted?
I can say that I probably haven't if I had trying times going on in my life. So I can't say, I don't know when I didn't vote.
Am I bothering you?
You're hitting the mic with your cord.
Okay,
you need a fidget spinner, I'm telling you. I can't say I went out of my way to not vote.
Okay.
So, I mean, if I was going through a divorce and it just happened to be I may have not voted for a primary or for a main. I don't know if I've missed a presidential one, but
I don't know.
A lot of the smaller ones I might have. So is that leading to how I'm going? What am I thinking about this November?
No.
Is that where you're leading?
No, I was just curious.
What about you?
I've always voted in a presidential.
Okay.
But local stuff, it's hit or miss.
Yeah, I
don't know. It's not that I don't care. Maybe it is that I don't care.
It's okay to say that if you don't. Honestly, though, the local elections affect you more than the presidential election, if you think about it.
For sure.
Especially like when in the city of Granville, like that's important, like who's on council and stuff. I definitely voted in those. And I always will vote for like millages and those kind of things where it's going to affect how much I pay in taxes.
Right.
But yeah, that leads to me, it leads to November. Like,
yeah, it's a tough one.
It's a tough one. Megan and I kind of got in an argument about that, about the old Trumpster. So it'll be interesting. All right. My question for you is, I had
Did you Google this?
Dude, I have a list that I've hidden on my computer. I have like over 300 questions.
Just for me specifically?
I didn't write them. I found them.
Okay.
Yeah, for you. And I want to go down the list, but you asked. So I'm gonna ask two, just because one's silly and one's kind of thoughtful. What weird food combinations do you really enjoy?
Sweet potatoes with eggs over easy and ketchup.
So you spit that out really quick.
Well, it's my go-to meal these days.
Really?
Oh yeah.
I mean, the ketchup I can see. We eat sweet potatoes all the time, but so what is over easy on eggs? I'm very
Like
basic.
the yolk is runny. So you got eggs with runny yolks, and you mix that into the sweet potatoes. Put some vegetable seasoning on them. Put some ketchup on. It's delicious.
So this is like the sweet potatoes already cooked.
Mm-hmm.
Then
I boil them.
Then you add the egg.
Yep.
Okay, so you add after you aren't cooking the egg.
Like I have two pans. I make the egg in one pan, and then I make the sweet potatoes
You're
in the
a
other.
psycho. That sounds so gross.
It's amazing.
Do you ever eat? I mean, I know you've been to Red Robin. Have you ever eaten that?
Egg on a burger?
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Love it.
You and my wife.
Stefan loves it too.
Really?
Like we go to Kitchen 67. Love that place, and it's supporting the local economy. He always gets the Zuckerburger, which has an egg on it.
Really?
So
I can't say I've ever tried it, but just mixing the two. Like I grew up very basic. I get separate plates for stuff sometimes. Like you will not put any kind of dessert on a plate that I've already eaten on. I need a clean plate.
Really?
Yeah. Oh
Wow.
no. And I used to have everything separated, and if it touched, it was gross. I've grown up a little bit, but yeah, I can't get the egg and nope.
So good.
Yeah. Okay. So here's a real one, or another one. What social stigma does society need to get over? Protesting?
A social stigma.
So that's what it, I mean, because like, what are you Googling what stigma is?
Yeah.
Well, like a mental health stigma, like you shouldn't get mental health. I mean, I don't know if that's a social one. But go ahead and Google it. I'm okay with that.
I think just a current event one for sure is the whole mask thing. Like, just stop fighting about the damn mask and put it on. Like, if you're gonna run into the grocery store, put on a mask.
Okay, but you agree with that. That's your view. I don't think that's a social stigma. What's the definition of social stigma? Is it just the word stigma you Googled?
Social stigma definition.
Yeah, Google that.
Well, it's the social stigma is there are some who
Well, read the definition of it, because I don't know.
it's the disapproval or discrimination against a person based on perceivable social characteristics that serve to distinguish them from the other members of a society.
Well, masks don't do that.
Yeah, they do.
Really?
Either masks or no mask I don't know. I think it's a social stigma.
Maybe. I don't know.
Let's see. Social stigmas are commonly related to culture, gender, race, intelligence, and health. Well, health. There you
Okay.
go.
Yeah. I mean, that being us fighting if that's a social stigma or not, I agree with the mask thing, but yeah, that's one of the reasons I've hidden a lot of people.
Yeah.
Because I'm getting tired of it.
Well, with health too, I would say I've experienced this firsthand. In the summer, I have two different colors on my skin color. Like,
Yeah.
I get blotchy around my mouth and my hands. And I would say people do tend to take a second look sometimes, or, younger kids or even adults, if they don't have a filter, even if I don't know them from Adam, they'll be like, dude, what's up with your skin?
Really?
Oh, yeah. It's happened a few times. So I think that's one thing that I would love to just see go away. Like, have some decency and respect for the fact that maybe people have health conditions that you don't get. Like, don't get uncomfortable about it. It's just, it is what it is.
Can I throw it out there, though, that when things are different, people look?
Yeah.
Not that they're being mean. Like, if you see a little person,
Yeah.
you're gonna look. It's
Yeah.
not. It's just different. It's
It
not
is.
like you're judging. But the problem is the person looking at that or looking at you they don't know what your attitude is.
Yes.
You could be like, oh, it's just a little person, or like, oh, look at that freak.
Right.
They don't know what you're thinking, so that's why it comes off like you said. You're like, why are you looking at me? Like, maybe they're just like, oh, it's different.
Yeah.
And I think I would, now that I know, like, you're the first person was it
Vitiligo.
Right. I didn't even know what that was when I
Yeah.
met you. You told me. I'm like, oh, okay. So now when I see it now, I'm like, oh, they have what Ben has. Like, it's not a big deal.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That, and then like some of the more obvious things. I don't know. I guess I just have a sensitive spot for people that have a hard time going out in the world simply because they look or act different.
I mean, I totally agree. I have the same thing with Sully because he, for the most part, is fine, but when he gets excited, he flaps.
Yeah.
And that's an autism thing.
Yeah.
And I've seen people stare at him, but I'm telling you, man, if I had a kid like in a wheelchair or like maybe had Down syndrome where it's physically you can really see, I would kick somebody's ass.
Oh yeah.
Like I'd be so sensitive about that.
Yeah.
So
And people are mean.
People are mean.
So I think I don't even remember what the question was, but that's
the question was, what social stigma does society need to get over?
That definitely.
Yeah.
And also the masks, but more so people with health issues.
Well, I feel like the mask is acute, right? Because that's hopefully going to go away. Hopefully.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, I mean, Ben and I are pro-mask, so if you hate us for that, I guess stop listening. I don't know. Just kidding. So, anything else?
No. I feel like this is a good, fun episode.
Yeah, it definitely was. Yeah, if you guys like the show, hate the show, whatever, please review us. If you like it and you think a friend might like it, share it with them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Share the link. We would really appreciate that. You can check us out on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube. I don't think we get like 2 views on YouTube. YouTube is such a grind. More people are on Facebook.
Yeah, it's true.
I think maybe it's just because
I think it's our target audience.
There it is. You hit it right on the head there.
Yep.
So
also, just want to give a quick shout out to Matt Philpott. We were talking about people that share the show.
Yes.
Matt is so good about it.
He's so thoughtful, and especially after Julian's episode, he really loved that one.
Yeah, that was really good. So, Matt, thank you for being a fan.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
For sure.
All right, I don't know what's up next. I didn't look. I should always probably look what we're doing next week, but that doesn't matter. So, yep, share the show if you like it. Yeah, this episode we thought was going to be a little shorter, but then we got heated discussion about what I thought in Portland. Sorry. Talking too much. All right, guys, have a good one. Thanks again. Love you.
Goodbye.